Ever pondered over the most brutal punishments that have ever been doled out in history? Our journey today takes us on a chilling expedition through the annals of time, unearthing the most severe and cruel forms of punishment that mankind has ever conceived. From the blood-soaked sands of ancient Persia to the cold stone walls of medieval Europe, we'll venture into the depths of human cruelty and fear. We'll explore the chilling method of Scaphism, a punishment that involved a victim, a hollowed-out tree trunk, and a swarm of insects. We'll then traverse through various civilizations where the excruciating method of impalement was used. Our journey will also lead us to the debated but infamous Iron Maiden, a medieval device synonymous with torture. And finally, we'll visit ancient China, where foot whipping was employed as a form of punishment. Prepare yourself as we delve into the dark past and explore these horrifying punishments. Imagine being trapped, force-fed, and left to be devoured. This was the reality of Scaphism. In the annals of ancient Persia, a terrifying punishment was reserved for the most egregious offenders. This punishment, known as Scaphism, was a method of execution that was as much about psychological torment as it was physical suffering. The name Scaphism originates from the Greek word scaphi, meaning anything scooped out or hollowed. This is a chillingly apt description of the process that awaited the condemned. The unfortunate individual would be stripped and firmly secured within the confines of a hollowed-out tree trunk or a pair of boats fastened together, with only their head, hands, and feet protruding. But the horror didn't end there. The victim was then force-fed a diet of milk and honey. This diet served two grotesque purposes. Firstly, it induced severe diarrhea, which would accumulate within the hollowed-out enclosure. Secondly, the sweet substances smeared on the victim's face would attract a swarm of insects. As the days rolled into nights, the victim would be left alone to the mercy of the elements and the insects. The bugs would lay their eggs in the victim's skin, leading to a slow, torturous death by insect larvae. This method of execution was not quick. It was designed to prolong the suffering of the victim as long as possible, often over many agonizing days. The combination of dehydration, starvation, septic shock from the festering sores, and the ceaseless torment of the insects would eventually lead to a slow, painful death. Such a fate was reserved for those who had committed crimes of the highest order. Scaphism was a testament to the creative cruelty of the human mind, a punishment designed to inflict maximum suffering on the condemned. A slow and agonizing death, Scaphism was truly a punishment designed for maximum suffering. Impalement, a punishment that has been used by various civilizations, was as brutal as it sounds. This chilling form of capital punishment was a stark reminder of the harsh realities of justice in the bygone eras. Impalement, in its most basic form, involved inserting a sharp object, often a stake, through the body of the condemned person. The stake would pierce the body, avoiding vital organs to prolong the agony. The person was then hoisted into the air, the stake firmly embedded into the ground. The victim was left to die a slow, excruciating death. This method of execution was employed by a myriad of civilizations throughout history, each with their unique, morbid twists. The ancient Assyrians, known for their brutal warfare, were said to have impaled their enemies on stakes, leaving them as a terrifying spectacle for all to witness. The Ottoman Empire, too, was infamous for its use of impalement. The sadistic ruler, Vlad the Impaler, from whom Bram Stoker's Dracula draws inspiration, was notorious for his use of this method, often leaving his victims on display as a deterrent to his enemies. Impalement was not just a means of execution, but a psychological weapon, a gruesome deterrent. The slow, agonizing death served as a stark warning to anyone who dared defy the law. It was a demonstration of power, a grim manifestation of the ruling class's authority and control. The method was not just restricted to stakes. Spears, hooks, and even animals were used to impale the unfortunate condemned. Each variant was designed to inflict the maximum amount of pain, prolonging the victim's suffering as much as possible. However, as civilizations evolved and human rights became more prominent, these brutal forms of punishment were gradually phased out. Impalement, like many other cruel punishments of the past, serves as a grim reminder of the inhumanity that once prevailed in the name of justice. Impalement, a testament to the harshness of historical punishments. The Iron Maiden, a device so terrifying it's debated whether it was real or just a myth. Picture this, a chilling coffin-shaped contraption. But this is no ordinary coffin. On the inside, it's lined with sharp, menacing spikes. This is the infamous Iron Maiden, a symbol that's become synonymous with medieval torture. The Iron Maiden is thought to have emerged in the heart of Europe during the Middle Ages. However, the existence of this device is shrouded in controversy. Some argue that it was nothing more than a legend, a myth, concocted to instill fear. Yet, there are others who firmly believe in its existence and its dreadful use. This monstrous device was allegedly designed for the slow and agonizing execution of those unfortunate enough to end up within its cold, metallic embrace. The victim would be forced inside, and as the doors closed, the spikes would impale their flesh. However, these spikes were strategically positioned to avoid vital organs, prolonging the suffering of the wretched soul trapped inside. The psychological terror that the Iron Maiden instilled cannot be understated. The mere sight of this monstrous contraption was enough to induce fear and obedience. It served not just as a potential instrument of death, but also as a powerful tool of psychological warfare, reinforcing the brutal authority of those in power. Despite the debates surrounding its existence, there's no denying the horrifying image that the Iron Maiden represents. It's a chilling reminder of the depths of human cruelty and the lengths that people can go to exert control and instill fear. The Iron Maiden, with its blood-curdling design, strikes terror into the hearts of those who dare to imagine what it would be like to be sealed within its spiked embrace. Over the centuries, the Iron Maiden has transcended its debated historical roots to become a staple of horror and macabre fascination. Its image continues to haunt our collective consciousness, appearing in everything from horror films to heavy metal iconography. Real or not, the Iron Maiden has become a symbol of the horror of medieval torture. Foot whipping, a punishment that caused severe pain and damage, all without leaving a mark. This was a form of punishment that took place in ancient China, specifically during the Han Dynasty. It was a method of discipline that was as cunning as it was cruel, designed to inflict maximum pain without causing visible harm. The technique itself was rather simple, yet deeply effective. The offender's feet would be bared, their soles exposed. A whip, often made of leather or bamboo, would then be used to strike the sensitive skin of the soles. This area, known as the plantar surface, is teeming with nerve endings, making it incredibly sensitive to touch and, consequently, to pain. The fact that the feet were targeted added another layer to the punishment. The feet, after all, are essential for mobility. With each lash, the ability to walk, to run, to engage in any form of locomotion would become increasingly difficult, adding a psychological element to the physical torment. This punishment was not just about causing pain, it was about control, about power. The individual administering the foot whipping was in a position of authority, demonstrating their dominance over the person receiving the punishment. It was a stark reminder of the social hierarchy that was deeply embedded in the culture of the Han Dynasty. The pain of foot whipping was not only physical, but also psychological. The anticipation of the next strike, the dread of the impending pain, all contributed to a sense of fear and anxiety that was just as debilitating as the physical pain itself. Yet, for all its brutality, foot whipping left no visible marks. This was part of its insidious nature. To the casual observer, the punished individual would appear unscathed, their suffering invisible. But to the person who had undergone the punishment, every step would be a painful reminder. Invisible to the eye, but excruciating to endure, foot whipping was a punishment of hidden torment. From Scaphism to foot whipping, these punishments highlight the darkest aspects of human history. We've journeyed through time, bearing witness to the unimaginable cruelty that mankind can inflict. Ancient Persia's Scaphism, a torment of forced feeding and slow death by vermin, is a chilling testament to the lengths of human sadism. Impalement, used by various civilizations, was a slow and agonizing death, a cruel spectacle of power and control. The Iron Maiden, whether myth or reality, is seared into our collective psyche. Its spiked coffin, a symbol of medieval torture's macabre creativity. Finally, foot whipping, a punishment from ancient China's Han Dynasty, inflicted intense pain and damage hidden beneath the surface. These punishments, each unique in its brutality, reveal the grim depths of human cruelty. They underscore the importance of justice, of treating one another with dignity and respect. These punishments serve as a stark reminder of the extents of human cruelty and the importance of justice in society.